Hello everyone. First, I want to say how very proud I am of everyone that's here. We're here to be proactive. I do better without a microphone. Like I said, I'm very proud of every one of you. Please look to your left. Please look to your right. You're here because you care about the school and that you want to share your voice. Now, I want to let you know that over the last few weeks, as we know, some scary things have happened, and we understand that. And adults have been talking, and students have been talking, and adults have been talking, and students. And this is a chance for students and adults to talk together. So this is all about voice, and it's all about the importance of having that voice, and that it's important that for you to know, as students, as adults, we're here for you, and we listen to you. So today's assembly is about that voice. Today's assembly is about how to use that voice in a proactive way that we all, as a school community, can be safe. One of the things that I am going to do is as the principal, I'm going to form a student advisory committee. And on that advisory committee can be anybody that wants to come. And in this committee, we will talk about all different concerns and any kind of questions or any kind of things that you might want to discuss. And another thing I want to let you know, that this whole idea, this whole student assembly was student-led. Students came to me, students came to Dr. Goai, came with their concerns, came with a way that we could get together, we could have this kind of a forum, we could have this kind of a talk. So a student came to me with, let's plan an assembly like this where we can all have voice and we can all get together and we can all talk about things. And then Dr. Goai went and met with the Oswego County superintendents, where those superintendents also brought things that students did. And then as I started to put this together, then there were students that wanted to talk. And so I have a couple students that are going to also say something to you up here and talk, and up here on stage. So this is something that's generated about you. This is all about you. Our motto is, our vision is be fully prepared and life ready. This is part of getting you prepared. You have to have that voice, and you have to feel safe, and you got to be able to use that. Everybody with me so far? Okay. So, next, I'm going to turn it over to the Undersheriff of Oswego County, Mr. Gene Sullivan, and he's going to talk to you about some things to make yourself safe.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Wallace, and thank all of you for being here today at this event, and for being the ones who are actually doing something about the safety of our school community by your attendance, involvement, and interest. Mr. Wallace says I got like 2.5 hours to talk to you guys, so sit back, relax. I'm kidding. I don't know who's more panicked, the students or the staff. My name is Gene Sullivan, and I'm the Undersheriff for Oswego County. So what's an Undersheriff? Well, I'm trying to figure that out myself. But any of you that might know my boss, Sheriff Todd, is going to be happy to know it's not a literal term. Mostly I'm happy about that. What I do is help Sheriff Todd provide our deputies with the tools that they need to succeed. And what does a deputy need to succeed? Well, much like you, deputies need training, education, equipment, and support. And these are the tools that deputies and other police officers use to succeed in keeping us all safe. And well, how do they keep us safe? Well, they prepare. They prepare to confront those things we hope we never see, and they prepare to be called upon in a moment's notice and to respond without hesitation to wherever they're needed. Our deputies, and I know all of law enforcement, work hard to prepare, and they do it all hours of the day and night throughout the year. When you guys are on winter and summer break, we're actually using the schools and the facilities in the community to train and to familiarize ourselves with the buildings, grounds, layouts, and infrastructures. You see us out and about in the towns and cities. You see us on the streets and in the stores. And I know, Dunkin' Donuts. But you may not see us in Oriskany, where we're at the Department of Homeland Security training facility, or using your actual school buildings to familiarize ourselves with the design and inner workings. We do this now, and we've been doing it for years, all to prepare. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't love meetings. And in fact, I've walked out of more than one going, what was that about? But I had an occasion to attend a meeting last week. The meeting was with all the school district superintendents in Oswego County. All 9 district superintendents were there. And I guess they get together like this kind of regularly and talk about like superintendent stuff. But this meeting was different. In this meeting, they invited law enforcement. And we, the cops, and they, the superintendents, talked. And the superintendents had talked about the districts and the schools and the students, and the cops talked about keeping the districts and schools and students safe. And in all that talking, I didn't hear I. The conversation was about students and staff and safety and bravery and right and wrong and fairness and engagement and empowerment and inclusion. And no one said I, because not one superintendent or cop at that table talked about themselves. That day, that discussion was about the greatness of the students, the staff, and the school community. And as part of that community, law enforcement officers were there to share their knowledge and experience and thoughts. And because while we were attending that meeting as cops, we were sitting there as parents. Our kids go to your schools. Our wives, some of our wives, are some of your teachers. Our kids are in the same hallways, classrooms, teams, bands, plays that you guys are all a part of. And as we cops sat there as parents, we were all together familiar with what's at stake and what we had to do and were willing to do as cops to keep our community safe and to keep the schools safe and to keep you, and in doing so, our own kids, safe. And the superintendents listened. And we traded ideas and we came up with good things and we threw out bad things, and it served as a very strong reminder about the importance and value of working together and talking and using each other's ideas to make one big, great thing together. And I learned that many of the ideas the superintendents had brought to the meeting had come from students. They'd written them down, and the superintendents were reading them from the students. And so the catalyst for all this conversation, the discussion at the meeting, and this assembly came from the students. And it should have. Just as the school is your community, and it is what you make of it, so too is the safety and security of your community. You are the eyes and ears of your community. You have your pulse on that community, and so it is imperative that if you see something, say something. If you see or hear something that you know is not right with your community or one of its members, you say something. You let someone know. And everyone has their someone, a teacher, a counselor, a coach, a principal, a superintendent, a cop, a parent. Grab that person who is your someone and tell them. Tell them that someone in your community is wrong or hurting or just off. Say when something is not right. See it, say it. I know that's oversimplifying. I know it's perceived as geeky or nerdy or not cool to tell on somebody. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Cops do not have crystal balls. We do not have superpowers where we can look into the future and tell or predict what is going to happen. What we do have is you. And you. And you. And you along the walls. And we count on you to provide us the information that we need to do what we do, which is to keep you safe. See it, say it. Do it because you're invested, you're interested, and because you know someone would do it for you. And you're doing it for someone, not to someone, because you care about the strength and health of your community. I can tell you from 28 years of law enforcement experience that I would much rather hear something 2 or 3 or 7 times than not hear it at all. That helps me make decisions and choices that affect your safety and your community. If we hear nothing, we can often do nothing. So emergency services isn't designed to do things for you, they're designed to do things with you. And your voice, your thoughts, your feelings, impressions, observations matter. And it is what compels us. The most powerful thing we have to overcome any hardship is each other. We are better together. And it is together that we can be fully prepared and life ready. And that should sound familiar to you. Thank you once again for taking a stand by being here instead of walking away, and for facing what's in front of us instead of turning your back in retreat. For being here, you have my respect and sincerest admiration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff Sullivan. The next, Emily Bradshaw now has something to say. Please.
Hello, my name's Emily Bradshaw. I'm a senior here at OHS, for those of you who don't know me. And for those of you who don't know, yesterday was the 1-month anniversary of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida. Many schools were having a walkout yesterday, but instead our school decided to have an assembly to show we stand together, not divided by who walks out and who doesn't. There is another walkout planned for a day in April, but instead of walking out, I encourage you all to walk up. I saw this idea on Facebook and I wanted to share it with all of you. Walk up to a student sitting alone at lunch and start a conversation. Walk up to your teachers and administrators and thank them. Walk up to a person you've never talked to before and compliment them. Walk up to someone who has different ideas or views from you, and you might find you have a lot in common. We all need to stand together. Right now the world is scary and has a lot of hate. So I challenge each and every one of you to walk up and bring more love to the world. Thank you.
The next person to speak is Leah Mullen.
To follow Emily, I would also like to encourage you all to do a couple of things. In order to gain a better sense of community, we need to respect one another. Administration and law enforcement can take precautionary measures to help reduce violence in our schools, but what they cannot do is bring us together. Only we can do that. They cannot make us all be kind to one another. Only we can do that. As administration and law enforcement tries to improve their system to keep us safe, we should improve our actions as well. Everyone comes from a different background. We have differences in race, religion, sexuality, gender, but that does not mean that we can not still be a cohesive and welcoming community. We cannot attack each other for our differences. It is vital that we respect one another for who we are. We can do that. No, you don't have to be friends with everyone in the school, and you don't have to try to be. You can, though, be kind to someone who is eating alone. You can be kind to people who seem to be having a bad day or who seem to be going through something hard. Reach out to people to help them, or if you need help. We can do that. Part of solving this issue rests on you. Today, I will smile at more people in the hallway, compliment at least one person I do not know well, and thank one person for listening to me when I needed to talk. I challenge you to do something that you feel will better your community. In closing, to quote Dr. Seuss, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. What can you do today?
What great messages that we've heard. At this time, could everybody please stand for a moment of silence for the Parkland victims? Thank you. Please have a seat. The next person to speak is our superintendent of schools, Dr. Gowai.
How do I follow that? My role today is really just to provide some thank yous. Certainly I want to send a thank you to Lieutenant Sear from the Oswego PD, certainly our school resource officer Berger, who are always on the scene to support us. They're here today as well. I want to thank Under Sheriff Sullivan for his words of encouragement today. I want to thank certainly Emily and Leah for the comments. But most importantly, we need to thank Mr. Wallace and the student organizers who had the maturity and foresight to create a balance between giving students a voice, recognizing the Parkland shooting, and maintaining order on our school campus. Because the policies and procedures that are in place that keep us a closed campus are designed collaboratively to provide safety for you. And I couldn't be prouder of the students. I say it every time I interact with students. Oswego High School is a great place for teaching and learning, and I thank you for your cooperation.
The next person that's going to speak to you is Mrs. Robillard, our school social worker.
Okay, good afternoon. Today I would like to read you a poem written by 14-year-old Alex Schechter, who was one of the 17 victims that was killed by the gunman last month and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. And this 14-year-old wrote this poem 2 weeks before his death. And this is a free verse poem, so try to read it appropriately. The title is Life is Like a Roller Coaster. Life is like a roller coaster. It has some ups and downs. Sometimes you can take it slow or very fast. It may be hard to breathe at times, but you have to push yourself and keep going. Your bar is your safety. It's like your family and friends. You hold on tight and you don't let go. But sometimes you might throw your hands up because your family and friends will be with you. Just like the bar that's keeping you safe at all times. It may be too much for you at times, the twists, the turns, the upside downs, but you get back up, you keep chugging along. Eventually it comes to a stop. You won't know how or when, but you will know that it'll be time to get off and start anew. Life is like a roller coaster. So his father read this at a town hall meeting after the shooting, and he said that Alex wasn't writing about his life. He had no idea that this poem would become his future. So when I think about this poem, I think of the chugging along that each student I work with every day, despite adversity, you keep chugging along. And life is hard and high school is hard, but I love working here because I love looking at the resiliency of the students chugging along. And secondly, the bar is your safety. So I hope every one of you has a bar of safety, and if you don't, and if you can, like everyone said, reach out to someone. We have to use our supports. I'd like to close with one of my favorite quotes, and it's be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle you know nothing about. So think about that when you meet anyone. Thank you.
Could you all stand up, please? I want to thank all of you for being here today. Now, would you please go back to your 8th period class? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.